Right, good morning everyone and welcome back to Thai Talk with Dan. Now I've just finished recording a short story from a subscriber who's in a bit of a dilemma. So I'll be uploading that later on today. It's about 7 a.m. here in Buriram, Thailand. I've come out early because the local temple decided to blast out the most annoying tune known to mankind. And I heard that just before 5 o'clock, and I hate it because it's the same tune over and over again that plays for about 6 seconds. Listen. 5 a.m. in the morning, Isan, Thailand. The local temple playing the most annoying music ever invented. They really decided to crank the speakers right up and blast it out. Now, I knew it was a Buddhist holiday the other day, so I expected it. It was different music and it wasn't so loud, but today I don't know what's going on. But yeah, they decided to give me a wake-up call. So I got up early, come out to the local lake here, recorded a short video, which I'll post later. And now I'm going to get into today's long story, which is titled, Not All Doom and Gloom and Financial Ruin. So I think we've got a good story. I've not read it yet. I want to be just as surprised as you are when you listen. But apparently it's a good one. Let's see. Hi Dan, hope you're good. I've been watching your content for a long time now, and I thought I'd send in my story for you and your subscribers. It's not a tale of financial catastrophe, more like an ongoing Asian adventure that's not over yet, hopefully, as this is still possibly a live situation, so please do not use my real name. This is just a small tale of my time in Asia and doesn't even scratch the surface of the stories and memories I created. This happened before I was going regularly to Thailand, Bali, Jakarta, and the Philippines. But we don't have time here. You'll get a flavour from the story. I used to live in Singapore and enjoyed a few fantastic years there before COVID meant I lost my job and had to return to the UK. It felt like a permanent holiday. I'd heard stories before I moved out there of the infamous Orchid Towers and had no idea what to expect, as I never experienced anything in relation to, shall we say, the female nighttime economy before I moved to Asia. My first exposure to this new world was after one night in my first week when two of my new colleagues took me to a bar on Circular Road in Singapore. I was shocked as we walked towards the bar to pass numerous girls on the street outside what looked like small private bars with windowless fronts. They were all shouting at me and trying to get my attention. Apparently, I was a very handsome man, and they all thought so, without exception. Now, not to be arrogant, but I'm an okay looking guy. I've never really struggled with dating and always kept myself fit, having been in the forces in my early 20s. Keeping in shape has just been part of my routine all my life. I guess that was a good decision, as it seemed to be appreciated in Asia. Anyway, we hit the bars along the street and had a great night. Once it hit midnight, my colleague said, "Right, it's time for the towers." I have to admit I was a little bit nervous. I had no idea what to expect, but I got in the taxi and off we went. Now, to keep this brief, as there is much more to my adventure, I had a great night and was looked after by some extremely personable young ladies. I lost many games of pool, which resulted in me having to buy them numerous drinks. How did they get so good at pool? Now, a top tip for anyone coming to Asia: practice your pool in advance, and also develop a strategy for Connect 4 that a chess grandmaster would be proud of. If you know, you know. Over the next months in my life in Singapore, it went great, and I was really enjoying myself. The local dating scene was good. I had a pretty teacher from the UK who lived next door in my condo who was always up for a knock on the door to borrow a cup of sugar. Work was going well, but I developed a real soft spot for the naughtiness and excitement of the female nighttime economy. It was becoming a habit. 6 months in, my female boss, a Singaporean, sent me an Outlook invitation for a review. Now, work was going well, so she suggested we go to a local wine bar and she could give me my appraisal there. It all went to plan and we polished off a bottle of wine. The sun was setting, and as always in Singapore, it was drinking weather. I was enjoying myself. Now, a colleague joined us after an hour, and my boss said she had to get back to her kids at home. She left a credit card with me to settle the bill, and off she went. Right, my colleague said, with a glint in his eye. Shall we have a few drinks down Circular Road? And off we went. The walk to the bar involved the usual shouts of handsome man and hey handsome for reasons I won't go into. By this time, quite a few of them knew my name. It was funny to see people react as the girls' shouts changed from generic handsome man to a specific handsome man. I got some funny looks from some Western girls as we walked to the bar, but I didn't care. I was clearly a handsome man. Midnight came around. Right, someone said. Who's up for the towers? Of course, we all were.
Make it rain all day long.
The taxi pulled up outside Orchard Towers, and we were immediately swamped by about 20 girls trying to drag us into their downstairs bar. They were quite easy on the eye, so instead of doing our usual bar crawl inside the numerous bars in Orchard Towers, we went downstairs, bought a beer tower and multiple rounds of lady drinks, and settled in for some fun. Now, I won't go into forensic detail, but this night ramped up to epic proportions. Multiple beer towers and lady drinks were purchased. We were clearly in the mood to party and were becoming quite the celebrities, and the girls congregated around our table. A few of the girls took a specific shine to me, and we were having a great conversation. 3 of them were whispering something to each other, and then they said to me, "Hey mister, do you want to go to a private room?" "What happens in there?" I said. "More party, better party," they said. They looked great, and I was in the mood to party. "Okay," I said, "let's go." Again, I won't go into detail about the next phase of the evening, but I had a lovely time as these ladies gave me their undivided attention and we all got to know each other much better. I had no idea how long I had been in the room, but my colleague eventually banged on the door saying we had to go as we had to get to work. He had left the club and actually got a McDonald's breakfast before coming back to get me. It was so late, or early, depending on how you view it. I paid up and left. I was very drunk, as you can imagine. Now, I asked the girls where they lived. By freak chance, and this is absolutely true, it transpired that they all shared a flat in the next street to me and the back gates of our condos, which we used more than the front main entrance, as they were opposite each other. My condo was also on the ground floor, meaning that I could walk straight into my flat through my patio doors, which I always left unlocked. We all shared a taxi home, I managed to get their numbers and grab 1 hour sleep before heading to work. As you can imagine, work was tough, but what an epic night. I just had to get through the day as I was catching a late flight back to the UK for a work conference. I could sleep on the plane. Now, the week back in the UK was work related and uneventful. I was looking forward to getting back to Asia. The girls had been texting me, wanting to know when I would be back to visit, and were giving me lots of attention on WhatsApp. After a week in the UK, it was time to return.
Life is good, but it can be better.
Now, meanwhile, in the departure lounge of Heathrow Airport, I was killing time having a few drinks when my phone vibrated. It was a message from the team PA on the work WhatsApp group. "What have you been doing, you naughty boy?" Addressing me. Now, keep in mind, the whole team in my company were in this private group chat. "What do you mean?" I typed back as I got my things together and headed for my seat on the plane. As I sat in my seat, I wondered what she meant. I hadn't behaved badly during my UK trip. I had no idea what she meant. The final checks were done by the cabin staff, and we were about to head out to the runway. I would have phone reception for another couple of minutes before I had to turn it off. "What are you talking about?" I typed again. I was getting a little anxious. A message came back. "Well, the boss's husband was going through their credit card receipts yesterday at the end of the month. He can't work out why there is 3,000 Singapore dollars on the card paid at 5 a.m. 2 weeks ago. He's pretty angry about it." My stomach sank. I had no recollection of what method I had used to settle the epic night out I'd had weeks earlier. But I had been trusted with my boss's credit card to settle the bill for the wine after my appraisal. "Oh, I thought. I began to panic. What could I say in response? "Excuse me, sir, we are about to take off. Please could you make sure your phone is either off or in flight mode?" The stewardess was looking at me. I must have been white as a sheet. The phone went off and we took off. The next 16 hours in the air were going to be long. I'd need to have a few whiskies to calm my nerves. Was I going to be fired for gross misconduct? My life in Singapore could be over before it had properly begun. Well, Dan, it's time to wrap this story up. I landed back in Singapore, got phone reception, and my phone lit up with messages. Needless to say, I had been the butt of everyone's jokes for 16 hours whilst I'd been in the air. I couldn't get home quick enough. I transferred the money to my boss, who passed it on to her husband. Order was restored, but everyone knew what I'd got up to. What can I say, Dan? When in Asia. And that is not quite the end of this story. It turns out that the three girls had indeed taken a genuine liking to me, and we all became good friends. Remember the back gate and the patio doors I used to leave open to my flat? Well, for the next 12 months before the girls had to go back to the Philippines, I often used to get a message early in the morning after they had finished work saying they were coming back home, where my patio doors open and I would like breakfast. Having studied politics at university, I was extremely happy to do my bit for international relations. What can I say? I must be a handsome man. So many stories, Dan. So many trips around Asia. I also ended up meeting a Thai investment banker in Singapore, and we ended up dating. After COVID, I have been staying with her in Bangkok for a few months a year and travelling around. She is a very good girl, so spends alternate weekends with her family just outside the city. I have an active social life when I am there, so it's a good opportunity for me to catch up with friends. Hope you like that story, Dan, and it puts a smile on the faces of your subscribers. Keep up the good work. I wanted to give you just one of my stories to show everyone it's not all doom, gloom, and financial ruin in Asia. Maybe I'll tell you more stories in the future. Take care, mate. Right, guys, let us know what you think about this story down in the comments below. He seems like a very, very happy man. But do you think that his destiny is not going to be that great if he continues in Asia for much longer? Or do you think he'll ride the wave nicely? Let us know down in the comments below. And if you've got your own Thailand story that you're willing to share on the channel, then as always, get your emails sent in to thaitalkwithdan@gmail.com. I'm going to turn my chair around. I'm going to chill out here and relax before I go home and see what today has in store. It's never easy. Ciao for now, guys. Bye-bye.